What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another video on the channel. We're in the truck right now, so you know what that means. We needed it to pick something up for the Z. So right off the bat, I gotta tell you guys, the engine is blown on the Z. The crank is seized. I don't know why. I really can't explain why, because I haven't opened it up yet to see exactly what's going on. But I am definitely gonna open it up in the next week or so. But today we went up to Reno today, and we picked up a new engine for the Z. So I'm pretty excited about that. I got it for a great deal. I wasn't sure if my engine was going to be fixable, so I know the crank is seized, and I was hoping the crank wasn't damaged or something. So if it is even the crank, I'm not sure yet. Maybe the piston's seized or something, but I guess we'll find out when we open it up. But this engine that I got comes with everything. I got it for a great deal, so I couldn't pass up the deal. I mean, 2 engines better than 1, just in case I blow this one again, which I wouldn't be surprised. So it is currently in the back of my truck, and I don't want to hold you guys up too long, so let's go ahead and get this thing unloaded. Okay, engine is out of the truck now. So we got a VG30DE. It's not the twin turbo. I don't currently have the money to do twin turbo right now, but it's a complete engine. It's pretty greasy up here because I'm pretty sure the power steering was out, and I'm pretty sure the front main seal is definitely leaking, maybe the water pump, but that's getting all replaced. Comes with the intake manifold, and it comes with a harness, guys. This is for a 5-speed 1990, so this one will work on my car, which is super nice because all the connectors aren't broken and all that, so should be nice. Hopefully there's no corrosion on this harness because I would like to use it. Basically everything on a complete engine, which is super sick. I'm super happy that we got the whole engine because I could definitely use these as other parts I need if something goes bad, or just to have parts laying around. I mean, you can never have too many parts laying around, so it's super nice that I have basically a whole parts engine. So the goal today is to get the harness off, to get the plenum off, the exhaust manifolds off. So I want to be able to fill the pistons or the cylinders with air just to make sure it's not leaking out of anything. The less stuff I have in here, the easier it's going to be. So the exhaust coming off, intake's coming off, wiring harness is all coming off. I'm going to take all the belts off, AC compressors coming off, alternator, power steering, water pump, timing cover so we can get a look at it. So I am not going to be using this intake manifold. I'm going to be using the one currently on my car. I told you guys in another video I have some headers for this car, so that'll be super sick to put them on. Everything is coming off of my car and going on here. I just want the block and the head basically. We have an AC compressor. If that thing works, we have an extra one laying around. All right, so I want to explain to you guys, this engine has 175,000 miles on it. Quite a bit of miles for a 300ZX, I think. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments if that's a lot of miles. 175. I'm going to be inspecting the crank bearings, the rings, just the quality of the oil. So we're changing the timing belt on it, new sprockets, tensioner, new water pump. I am replacing the oil pump. I'm going to be resealing the main cover, spark plugs. With that, I'm extremely hungry, so I'm going to go get some food real quick, and then we'll come back at the shop and start tearing this thing apart. I'll see you guys in a minute. We are back. It's the next day. I called it a day yesterday because I was busy with other things. I took the engine off the hoist, and I couldn't put it on the engine stand yet because the flywheel is still attached, and we need that to do a compression test once we get my Z in here. So what we're going to start doing right now is taking this wiring harness off because it's pretty big, and I want to save this and see what's salvageable and not salvageable on it. And then after that, we're going to take the intake plenum off. I just have it on some blocks. This is sturdy enough for my liking, so I'm not going to be moving it too much. So let's get started. So miscellaneous bolts like this, like just a small one for ground or something, I'm just going to put them in the box because they're all universal. But like intake bolts, I'm keeping in a specific spot. Flywheel bolts, I'm keeping them on this thing because I'm extremely bad at keeping track of my bolts. So I just put them in some holes, write down what it is, and then I have 4 of these, so should have enough to keep track of all the bolts that I take off. We got the wiring harness off. 90% of it, there's some small spots still here, but it's like tucked underneath the engine mount, so I can't get it. So the condition of this is probably just as bad as mine because it's a 91 and this has way more miles. So it is what it is. We'll salvage what we can, but we got an extra wiring harness. I mean, it's kind of expensive for these, so yay about that. This engine is extremely dirty. We accidentally missed the drain pan when I was draining the oil, so a little bit of a mess. So I didn't get too much done. I got the power steering off, we got the alternator off, and this timing cover off, and that whole intake thing off. So, and I know this sounds like a cheap way to do a compression test, which it kind of is, but it is effective. All right, so here's what I did. This is a compression tester tube, and there's a valve stem that goes inside there. So what I did is I took that out, and obviously all the spark plugs are out. So what I did is I stuck a long screwdriver, something like this, pretty long, and I went ahead and stuck it down into the piston, and you can see that's the top of the piston versus this one goes all the way down, and I think this one's all the way at the bottom. Yeah, so went ahead and stuck this in here, spun the crank, and this thing will go up and down. And once you hit the top, then you stop. And I looked through here just to make sure the valves are closed. And once I was finished, I went ahead, screwed this guy in, and blew with my mouth. Now, you can tell if it's leaking by blowing through your mouth. So you could tell if like something major is wrong, like if a valve is bent or a ring is broken or a head gasket is blown. You can tell by blowing because you'll still be able to blow consistently with it. But if you're blowing and you're not moving any air at all, you know that the cylinder is good. There's no major leaks. Like, yes, the rings might be worn and might get a low compression altogether, but we're looking for a cylinder that is like super off. Like if we have 125, and then we have like 90, and the other ones are 125. So then we know something is wrong with that cylinder. So this kind of does the test for you. All of them felt the same, so I'm gonna call it good. Now, I wish I could do a full compression test, but I can't because the starter mounts to the transmission and I don't have a second transmission. So I don't want to have to pull the Z in here and have two engines side by side. I want to get this one completely built, completely ready to go in. And then once that's done, then we'll go ahead and pull the other Z in, pull that engine, and literally swap a few accessories and drop this one in immediately. All right, so update, we got the AC compressor off, we got the pulley off, the engine mounts, that bracket that goes to the transmission. And what I was talking about are these things. So these cover the spark plug and they hold a lot of dirt inside. So I went ahead and blew it out all in here, put the spark plugs back in just to cover it up. So it's semi-clean, made sure it covered all those, all the holes that needed to be covered. But what I went ahead and did is unbolted the valve covers. These are loose. Because I'm kind of nervous to take the valve covers off and see what they look like. Because looking at cams, you could tell a lot of how the engine was maintained and taken care of. But my system is going pretty good. Keeping track of all my bolts. I think this is great. I mean, I got freaking 4 of those boxes right there. Let's go ahead and pop these valve covers off. I hope I don't need 2 hands, but I guess we'll find out. Well, everything looks great with the cams. So for 175K like that, they look extremely good. So I'm gonna end the video here because I don't want it to be too long for you guys. So stay tuned for part 2 of this build. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys got any tips on building this engine. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.